Well, hello, Zaya Commanders. Welcome back to Grigsbys War in the East. It's good to see you guys. We are continuing, guys, with our campaign here in War in the East. We only have, I think, 2 turns left after this, so we are, of course, trying to take Smolensk, and from what we understand, there's still a lot of other towns, such as Yelkeluki, that we should also be taking. We have taken Mogilev, a few other areas, but we've got to get closer to Smolensk, and one of the problems is this damn river. A lot of our best men are trapped on this side of the river, and to get across, we pretty much have to do some serious attacking, which may or may not result in these guys being stuck across the river, and then an easy counterattack for the enemy. So I'm just going to take, first of all, our glorious Lehr motorized corps. We've got a few infantry divisions here as well. And I'm going to just charge into the weakest link here of the Soviet defense. But as you can see, they're definitely getting a bit stronger. They're trying to hold. I think we can get another attack in here. Let's go for it. Beautiful. So we did get them to retreat. If I can get even another attack, I will go for it. Just because at this point, we need to use everything we can to try and force our way through over here near Smolensk. And the enemy has been throwing every single defense they can there. Artillery, tanks, infantry. They've pretty much committed to defending this area. Now let's take the 20th Motorized Corps, and this is accompanied by one of our Panzer divisions. So I'm hoping we can easily bust through this group, and sure enough, yeah, we did. 1,463 men lost there on the enemy side. Not surprising, and I'm going to try to get another attack on this weak link here too. Incredibly, those forces held. Now, we definitely want to keep on pushing through. We talked about this last turn, continuing to push through our infantry. The problem is, of course, the fact that we're probably not going to be able to attack this turn. Maybe one attack. So let's actually make the attack down here, because this is quite close to the edge of one of the rivers, so perhaps we can move some of our men through. Yeah, it looks like we only had enough energy for a scout. Our men had been moving throughout the entire day just to get there, so clearly they weren't going to have too much energy. Let's go ahead and attack. Our air forces are, of course, here also assisting, and massive retreat, or rout, I should say, on the enemy side. So we already know what the sweet spot is, boys and girls. It's that right there. And again, once again, across a river. So every time we do attacks like this, we're really taking a huge risk. And we're also forcing our men across the river when we know they're probably not going to be able to hold the position. So I'm almost tempted to try and just move as many men up here as I can. Which is exactly what I'm going to do before next turn. And I'm hoping that this amount will actually allow us to kind of break through. I'll also send some guys to fill in the gaps. I might even actually send them up here. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And we're just going to try to work with what we've got here. Because, again, this is not the main front. The main front is up here north of the river. So, you know, having men here, I mean, that's great to try and hold off the enemy, but it's not going to actually help us in the long run. So here we go once again. Defender fort reduced. The enemy's definitely going to rout with that one without a doubt. I'm actually going to go ahead and also attack this enemy tank unit. I felt like in the south we could do really, really well, but it looks like they managed to hold, and that could be... Is that across a river? Yes, it is. Oh, man. I'm going for another one. Yes. I knew we were going to be able to force them back. And we will continue pushing. A little counterattack here in the south, boys. And we are going to attempt to make a push over here for several of the enemy rail lines. Again, I feel like we have to be aggressive. We've been pretty aggressive already, but I feel like we could be even more aggressive. Got to get this general closer to his men. And as for the guys over here in the swamps, frankly, I don't think they're ever going to make it over in time. But we can dream, of course. You know, we can keep trying to bring them over, see if they'll make the journey. And over here near Gomel, again, I think the best thing to do near Gomel is hold the position. We're not going to be taking anything of value unless we went for Chernigov or Kursk. There's no way we would have gotten to Kursk this campaign unless we had just gone at blistering speed. So I'm not feeling too bad about that. But as you can see over here, we're starting to get near enemy airfields south of Smolensk. It might be a good idea to try to force our actual mechanized troops through to try and push the enemy back here and take those airfields or force that HQ back. So I'm going to go ahead and get the Panzer Corps here, the Reich SS Motorized Division as well, and we're going to try to force our way through. So let's see here. Yeah, we'll definitely attack that tank unit. Beautiful. They're going to absolutely retreat. But I think here we're going to have to play it safe. We're going to have to play it a little defensively, as it were. I will still push forward. And I'm absolutely going to try to attack that HQ right there. Come on. Oh, beautiful. So we did actually get the HQ to retreat. Not too shabby. But I'm going to keep on pushing forward with some of these units. As you can see, a lot of the units are quite weak, so we're just going to force them back across the river. I just don't want them trying to do any attacks, and just forcing themselves across the river alone is pretty tough. So kind of forcing them to just essentially do a little more work before they make that push. Well, when you have no choice, go for it, and we have no choice here. Again, attacking across a river there, losing 180 men in the process. It's not pretty, but it may be necessary. And over here, once again, it's just attacking across those river tiles is nearly impossible. So really, we should focus on just weakening the rest of the enemy army. Like I said, there's a lot of these weak points here that we want to try to exploit. Let's go for it. This might have been our largest attack in a while. 3,307, 3,307 enemies going down there. And again, the only other option here is to go ahead and send some attacks for Smolensk. I'm just not sure that's really the best idea. We're going to go ahead and get some of these HQs a little bit closer to the men now that they've fanned out, and really try to just bring as many supplies as possible for the final push. I mean, keep in mind, we do still have... Oh, that's going to suck. How are we going to play this one? We do still have 2 turns after this to try and break the enemy. So I am thinking that perhaps, just maybe, we can go ahead and take a turn here to resupply a bit and try and be a little more aggressive next turn. Another thing I'm tempted to do is get these guys back and switch them here with this tank company, but that's simply not an option right now. 1, 2. Again, really just trying to set up a proper defense and hoping that this will get the job done. I'm definitely not going to make that attack. Let's take a look at the north, guys. We've actually managed to push back all of the Soviet airborne troops that have dropped here. But again, taking the area of Veliki Luki would be nice. It's definitely going to add to our overall point score. So I'm still going to keep on making a push for it, even though we don't have nearly as many here in the north as we do near Smolensk in the center. Let's go for it. Major attack. Come on. Beautiful. That's what we want to see. Some retreating Soviet units is always a good thing. Maybe we can get a bit of a domino effect here, if we're lucky enough. And again, a tremendous amount of retreats from the Soviets. Push this unit up. Can we hit the HQ? That's the real question. And more importantly, can we hit the HQ with the support of more infantry? Come on! Yes! Forcing back Vasily Dolmatov. I'm not familiar with this general. And let's see if we can't get a few more attacks. No attack power left. I was hoping to get some attacks against these units right here, north of Vitebsk. Not too bad, but we need to send more people to hold the actual defensive line. So let's move up here. And this has really become the Iron Front, where we are attacking, but at the same time, each turn we have to put up a pretty formidable defense to keep away the enemy counterattacks, which are quite effective. I think we can all agree that the enemy counterattacks have been very, very effective in this Let's Play. Massive retreat, and I'm sure that will entail a few prisoners as well. And yeah, I can't help myself. We got to try and go for an attack here. That's going to be a really tough nut to crack. I am taking the risk and thinking about attacking across the river here. The defending force is held, but again, if we can just weaken them, that's good. Especially since we've got 2 turns to try and turn the situation around a bit. Can we hit with the tanks? I thought we could. There we go. It's just going to be a scouting attack, essentially. Not really anything special, but, you know, every attack counts at this point. And there we go. That's Smolensk. I'm just looking to see if we can support this area anymore. We could bring the airfield slightly closer and just get them right there near Smolensk. So that's what I'm going to do for now, is just kind of push some of these airfields closer, also getting that HQ closer so these guys can actually resupply here on the front. Again, we might just wait, even wait next turn, and just try to get these guys as strong as possible. Have them sit here and pretty much dig in, stop any Soviet counterattacks and push for Smolensk in just a bit. I mean, it's right there, guys. Smolensk is right there. We are just one attack away from pretty much taking the city. But as you can see, that 86 defense, I don't even know how many men that equals, but as you can see down here, it's an enormous amount. Just look at the bottom part of the screen. They've got a ton of anti-tank weapons, a ton of actual mortars, a lot of infantry. It's pretty crazy here. They even have cavalry units. So that's how desperate they are to hold that area. Now, once again, I did want to make that push for the airfield, but I just don't think we have any units that can make the push this turn. I will, however, try to force this guy back, or at least let him know that we're here. And I think that's pretty much all we can do this turn. I'm going to go ahead and end it and turn it over to the Soviets. And let's see what Uncle Ivan decides to do here. Now, we're always going to skip over the air attacks. And, of course, at the end of every turn, we look at the casualty count, so you can look at this for yourself to see how the air attacks did, etc. But I think right here we were actually just delivering fuel to many of our units, which is a good sign. They're starting to get some supplies, and hopefully maybe we even get some reserves in those lines to make up for all the men we've lost already. All right, enemy's doing some recon. And essentially, anybody that's new to this game, to do recon, it's very, very easy. You simply, at the beginning of a mission, I think you have to be in the map information. Simply right-click, and you'll take pictures with some planes, etc. There's always a risk, of course, that your planes are going to get shot down. Please keep that in mind. But, you know, it's a risk you've got to take. And once again here, again, trying to push across the river. We just can't make it across there. The enemy forced our men back once again. With those counterattacks, but are they fortifying their position at Smolensk? I'm not sure. Although if you look at the enemy's perspective there, it would be very difficult for them to carry out a counterattack. So my previous fears of the enemy doing a massive counterattack are pretty much completely, you know, delayed. I don't think that's going to happen. They just don't have enough men to do it. Unless we, you know, lose a tremendous amount of men in these attacks, we should be able to hold on here this turn. Because that's the end of the logistics phase. I believe, yes, okay. And let's take a look at the casualties here, folks. So the current turn, the enemy, or sorry, total losses of the total turns is going to be 80,000 men. As for the enemy, 531,000 men, with, of course, 250,000 of those being our prisoners. And if you read anything about how Soviet prisoners were treated, you can pretty much consider those guys to be KIA as well. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this next episode. I'm sorry for the long delay. We'll try to get the last episode out, or maybe there's going to be 2 more episodes after this this week, so you guys can actually see what happens in the end. But if anybody has any tips, I know a lot of people have given some excellent tips. One of those being to actually separate the generals by color. Instead of having these units so close together. It's a bit late to follow that tip because we've already kind of gotten into the fray. But I really appreciate that guy and anybody that has some feedback, etc., on how we can improve our play style, but specifically what you think we should do in this situation. Remember, we've got 2 more turns, 9 and 10, to do some more moves, and I don't know. I think maybe this turn I'm just going to rest, let our men continue to get supplies, and attack next turn. But that leaves us with, you know, pretty much we need to take Smolensk in 1 turn, which is going to be very difficult, I believe. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Thanks so much, guys. Take care. I'll catch you on the next one.